Distributors. Thank you very much for joining us once again today. There may be some new people, as Paul said. You are also very welcome. Our business is for everyone who is looking, and we are always looking. So that we have found you is a pleasure for us, and our joy is in supporting you so that your business may succeed and you may fulfill all your goals. So this evening, as you might have seen from your invitation, I'm going to be taking Q&As. So I've received a good number of questions. I will not be able to bring all of them in, but I'll try my best with some of them. And as you know, I always say that please do not feel that maybe a question has been asked, so you can't ask again. If you have a question, feel free to ask. If I do not have a product answer, we have a Neolife product specialist who is always very ready to provide us with information, as well as distributors. Of course, we exchange information. So all questions are very welcome, and you too are welcome from wherever you are listening to us. So let me start right away with a question that was in one of the trainings a few weeks ago. Someone wanted to know about overdosing on our Neolife supplements. So with this, I think that it's not really a question. There is no question of overdosing, because the majority of our supplements are actually food concentrates, because they are made from foods that we eat. Of course, it is possible to take too much of anything, but it is not something that would happen accidentally. It would be that you are deliberately not using the products the way it has been recommended. So just as we eat our food, the products, look at them as food concentrates, where specific aspects of the food has been concentrated for our consumption. So there may be a few supplements. For example, you may have heard me say that supplementing with chelated iron for adult men might not be a good idea, because our body is able to recycle the iron in the blood. So we often will not need to supplement for men. For women before menopause, of course, there is the monthly loss of blood. So there is a need for supplementing with iron sometimes, not in all cases. We get quite a bit of iron from our diet. So, and then I think that might be the only product that I can think of where we usually have a cautionary. So for people who might have concerns about overloading their system with iron, we have got Multi, which is a supplement, it's a multi-mineral, multivitamin, but it does not contain iron. So that is an option that anyone who is concerned about overloading on iron can use. So in the case of overdosing on supplements, we do not look at them like drugs, which there is a chance that if you take a little bit more, it's going to cause you harm. We can actually rest assured that that is a very unlikely event. Okay, so then I go to the second question, where someone wanted to know that since NutriShake, Neolife Shake, and Pro Vitality seem to be quite similar, do we need to take all of them? And here what I would like to clarify is NutriShake and Neolife are actually protein supplements. They have got other nutrients in them, but they're mainly to supply us with the amino acids that we need to build proteins. They are a bit different in the amounts, for example, of proteins that you will get in NutriShake versus Neolife Shake. But it is true that they are quite similar, and it is possible to use them more or less interchangeably. That is NutriShake and Neolife Shake. One is a slightly bigger container, and the other is slightly cheaper. So those are some considerations that you may take if the client is maybe constrained in terms of budget, but the benefits are more or less similar with those small differences that I said. So NutriShake and Neolife Shake are protein supplements, but with an additional other nutrients. ProVitality, on the other hand, we call it a baseline supplement. So it's a general supplement that is quite targeted, and it has been packaged to include those supplements that are very specific to the areas where our scientific advisory board have found us to be normally lacking. So you know that ProVitality will have, for example, omega-3 salmon oil. Many people do not take fish at all, and those who do not take enough to get the amount of omega-3 salmon oil they may require. And sometimes you may find that for specific health reasons, they may need a bit more because of their situation. So for example, an expectant mother is going to need to make sure that she's taking plenty of omega-3 salmon oil, because it is important in the development of the certain organs of the baby, as well as the brain. Someone who has got maybe a concern about blood health may require a fair amount of omega-3 and so on. Then we look at something like carotenoid complex. We see here that this is a phytonutrient that is very useful in our health. And then, of course, we have threonine, the grain oils, which is very important for cellular health. And we always say that threonine is the absolute base, because it makes sure that our cells themselves are healthy and able to take advantage of all the other interventions that we might take in terms of nutrition. So I would not say that if you're taking NutriShake or Neolife Shake, then you don't need to take ProVitality. I would say it is better to take both. Let us say you don't need to take both NutriShake and Neolife Shake, but ProVitality is an entirely different case. So for that reason, if you take ProVitality, you can also add NutriShake, or you can add Neolife Shake, but it doesn't have to be both NutriShake and Neolife Shake, because as I said, the two shakes are fairly similar, so that it's not necessary to take both. I find that, for example, Neolife Shake will be very important. NutriShake or Neolife Shake will be very important for people who want to make sure that they are getting adequate protein supplementation. This could be because they are very involved in sports. It could be that someone is ill and does not have a good appetite, or it could be a young person who is, for some reason, challenged, or maybe is participating in sport and is also growing, and maybe has got an aversion to important protein in the diet. So NutriShake and Neolife Shake address protein needs. ProVitality, on the other hand, address specific needs that tend to be missing in our diet, or not to be enough in our diet. So if you take something like threonine, the reason we always recommend threonine is that the grain oils that we get in threonine are usually eliminated from our flour, because those oils tend to cause the flour to go bad. So the manufacturers remove them, which means that even if we are eating grains, the amount of threonine oils we are getting from them is very little. So that is an example of where the supplement is important, because our diet that is poor in that particular nutrient. And so I hope that I've explained that question well enough. If I need to explain further, maybe you can specify more about what you specifically wanted to know. Then the third question I received was a question: why do I say that we should not have a prolonged use of stage 6? The product stage 6 is usually recommended for people who have got constipation or poor bowel movements. And I think I mentioned when I was speaking about it that we should not use it continuously for long periods. And this is because regular bowel movements should occur naturally if our dietary choices are good and we are not on particular medication. There are certain kinds of medication, for example, some strong pain medications that can lead our bodies to be constipated. Also, some people during pregnancy may experience constipation, and certain illnesses can lead to constipation. But a major cause of constipation also would be poor dietary choices, where one is not taking enough of minimally processed foods to make sure that we have the ability to pass stool regularly. So we can use stage 6 to help us with the problem, but it's with the idea that with time, our body itself should take over the work of regulating the bowel movement. It's not because stage 6 is going to harm you, but it's because stage 6 is like a bridge. It gets you from where you are to where you want to be, but you have to be moving towards where you want to be. So the goal is to start making good dietary choices so that your bowel movements are regular. That is the only reason why I recommended that stage 6 should be used periodically, but not continuously. Of course, when you're doing a detox, stage 6 is important. And I think just on the same point of stage 6, I did receive a question about doing detox for a full month in the case of someone who is not well. I do not find that it's necessary to do a detox for such a long time, because remember, we cannot eliminate every toxin in our body. So my own preference is that you do the detox maybe 2 or 3 times a year, but just for the recommended 3 days to 1 week, instead of doing it for a long, long period. And if you do it, let's say that periodically, maybe every quarter, then it means that if there are any new toxins that you have accumulated in your body, then you can take them out again. But to do a detox for 1 month and then you don't ever do it again is, I think, not a very reasonable way of going about it. So if you are doing a detox, of course, stage 6 is important in detox because it makes sure that our bowels are moving correctly. But once the detox is over, then we don't need to go on with the stage 6. Or once the constipation has been resolved, which is our aim, then we don't need to go on with the stage 6. We can still keep it and use it if the problem flares up again. Because, for example, if you're on pain medication, which is caused, or other medication that is causing constipation, then of course, periodically you may experience constipation again, and you can then go back to the stage 6. Okay, but always with the aim of going back to being able to have regular bowel movements without any assistance. But if the assistance is required, as I've said, once again, you can resume the stage 6 for a period to help you get back to regular movements. Otherwise, it is not that it is going to harm you in any way. Okay, then the 4th question was about different types. There have been a number of questions about arthritis. And I think the concern here is because there are different types of arthritis. So I thought the best way to approach this is to mention 4 common types of arthritis so that we know, maybe we are able to recognize which kind we are dealing with when a client or we ourselves need to get that information. So the common types of arthritis are osteoarthritis. This is a common one that tends to be found as we get older, that the joints start being less flexible and being painful. And it's normally the result of the wearing down of cartilage. As you are aware, cartilage is the smooth material that is on the heads of bones and assists in keeping the joints flexible. But if, let us say you had an injury when you were young and the joint did not heal correctly, then it may sit in a way that causes the cartilage to be ground. Because when the joint is sitting well, then this is not likely to be a problem. But if the joint for some reason is out of line, then some parts of it the cartilage can start being worn out. If we gain a lot of weight, then the excess weight might cause problems also with the flexibility of the joint. So that is what osteoarthritis is. And for it, the best long-term plan is to repair the cartilage, because the body can repair the cartilage. It can lay down new cartilage to replace the one that has been worn out. Of course, it also means that there should be physiotherapy if there is some joint problem that is severe, or a plan to reduce body weight if the problem is as a result of weight gain. And then on the side of products for osteoarthritis, we'll say full motion, omega-3 salmon oil, and vitamin C. And the reason we add the vitamin C is because it is used in the process of Full motion gives you the material for making new cartilage, but this also requires vitamin C. So the process involves vitamin C. Omega-3 helps in keeping the swelling and the inflammation down. And we can also add CalMag. So those would be the 4 products that we recommend for osteoarthritis. The second kind of common rheumatoid arthritis that we come across is rheumatoid arthritis. And this one is different in that it is an autoimmune illness in which the body attacks the joints, and it leads to swelling and pain as well as inflammation, which eventually can lead to the bone itself getting eroded, and there can be a loss of flexibility of the joints. So for this, again, as I think I've mentioned variously before, autoimmune illnesses are quite problematic, and often we may have to look at what is in our diet that is causing our immune system to attack us, because our immune system is supposed to defend us. When it is stressed or something is not okay, then it starts overreacting, and in its overreaction, it starts attacking our own tissues. So for that reason, our recommendation here will be the same, but slight differences. So we'll still have full motion to help in repairing the joint. We'll want multimineral alfalfa to provide a broad amount of minerals, and then Provitality, because the carotenoid complex in Provitality will help the immune system. And then, of course, there'll be omega-3 and the other ones that are in the Provitality. So for rheumatoid arthritis, it would be good to have Provitality to help with the immune system, to calm it down and support it. Then the third one of the arthritis is gout. So gout is a form of arthritis, which is a bit different in that it's the result of the accumulation of uric acid crystals in the joint. So uric acid is one of the byproducts of the digestion and assimilation of proteins. It causes swelling also, as well as pain, but usually it would attack just one joint, and it tends to be the big toe, but it is extremely painful. So it has been linked to certain trigger foods, for example, beer and hard liquor, as well as certain foods which are rich in a substance called purines. So if you check, there are certain foods, especially meats like from the organs of the animal, which can be rich in these purines. And when the purines are digested and assimilated, uric acid can form, and this can lead to gout. So in terms of recommendation, for gout, we'll once again have omega-3 salmon oil. We'll recommend flavonoids, which have been found to be quite helpful, as well as multimineral alfalfa. But we also recommend that if someone is a consumer of beer or hard liquor, they would need to eliminate this from their diet, and also to increase the amount of fruits and vegetables in their diet, because this will also help in conjunction with the flavonoids that they are supplementing with. Then the last one I have here, I think it's the second last maybe, is juvenile arthritis, which occurs in children under the age of 16. And the cause of this is not conclusively known. There are several theories. It may be familial or it may be autoimmune also. And here we'll recommend, depending on the age of a child, if it's a very young child, of course, we'll recommend Vita Squares, VitaGuard, and omega-3 salmon oil, the small capsule, which is easier for children to take. For an older child, we'll still recommend the same omega-3 salmon oil, but in addition to that, we'll have flavonoid complex and multimineral. Then also, I wanted to mention finally about this arthritis, that some of the autoimmune illnesses like lupus or psoriasis can also lead to arthritis. So because they're autoimmune, here we would want to emphasize once again using either phytodefense. If the cost of phytodefense is a bit too much, then we can use one of the members of phytodefense, or we can use BetaGuard just to supply plenty of antioxidants to support the immune system. Oh, I'm going very slow. Oh, I see my time is running out. Anyways, then one person wanted to know whether they can use BetaGuard during chemotherapy or in between the chemotherapy treatment. But the best recommendation is that once the chemotherapy is complete, that is when we use the BetaGuard to help the body to detox from the chemotherapy drugs. Obviously, you don't want to be using chemotherapy drugs and then using BetaGuard at the same time, because you are interfering with the activity of the drug. So once the cycle has been completed, then we use the BetaGuard to help the body to get rid of the chemo drugs. Another person wanted to know if we have got brewer's yeast as a supplement in Neolife. And here, the reason why people take brewer's yeast as a supplement is because they want a vitamin B supplementation. And you know that Neolife does have a very good vitamin B supplement, which is a vitamin B complex, meaning that it has the entire family of vitamin B. And that way they help each other in performing their work in the body. So if someone is looking for brewer's yeast, we can recommend for them vitamin B complex, and it will do the job perfectly well. Then the next person asked, these were also a number of people who wanted to know about ulcers and also the bacterium that has been linked to ulcers, which is H. pylori. And for ulcers, we will say that at least make a visit to the doctor, so that if it is H. pylori, which is causing the ulcers, then you get antibiotics from your doctor. So that is the first step. If maybe it continues and you're not getting the results that you're happy with, then we have the supplements also that will help, and certain maybe dietary interventions that we can take. So from the products, we'll recommend chelated zinc, we'll recommend flavonoid complex, as well as garlic. If you have acidophilus in your market, then acidophilus is important for helping to build up the good bacteria population in your gut. And these good bacteria are going to fight the bad bacteria that could be causing you the ulcers. We also recommend aloe vera plus for drinking when there is a flare up. So it can be taken at the end of the day so that it helps to soothe the gut at the end of the day. So that is the recommendation for ulcers. And then I had another, if you do not have acidophilus, we can use, I usually say, try to increase the fiber in your diet, not too much. Make sure that it's soluble fiber, not rough fiber. And also some of the fermented foodstuffs that we traditionally use. Some people have got fermented porridge, some people have got fermented milk. These ones also help to increase the friendly bacteria in our gut. So that can be an intervention that you can use. Of course, acidophilus is the best, but as you know, acidophilus needs to very specific conditions for being stored and transported. And so for the moment, it's not available in all our markets. Hopefully in time, we are going to be able to supply it in all the African markets. Okay, then another question was about, I think this will have to be the last one because the time is running out. Someone wanted to know about endometriosis. So endometriosis is an pelvic inflammation that is a result of overgrowth of uterine tissues. The tissues of the womb start growing too much, and it can cause heavy bleeding as well as quite a bit of pain. And it also might reduce fertility. It has been linked to problems with the female reproductive hormones malfunctioning, and it also may tend to run in families. So here what we recommend is feminine herbal complex, which is going to help with the reproductive hormones of the lady. We also recommend omega-3 salmon oil, flavonoids, and multimineral. The multimineral will help, especially where there is heavy bleeding and you need to replenish the minerals that are being lost from the bleeding. Okay, then another one was a question about LDC. Someone wanted to know if cleaning our fruits with LDC is going to eliminate any toxic substances that is inside the fruit or the vegetable. Unfortunately, this is not the case. It will remove anything that is on the surface of the fruit and vegetables, but whatever is inside the tissue of the fruit or the vegetables, this it will not remove. So what we need to do is to look for a good fruit and vegetable supplier who does not use harmful additives to growing their fruits and vegetables. So I think that the next question, I'll need to carry them on to the next time. You will forgive me for this, but maybe we can have another Q&A session in the month of July so that we catch up with some of the questions. Meanwhile, let me thank you very much for your time and your attention and wish you all the best in this month of June as we move towards month end and you have been working towards your goal. I wish you all the best in reaching those goals as we too are working towards our own goals. May we keep on working because there are people looking for us out there. Let us not be shy to go out and speak with anyone who is looking, because it's by opening our mouths that we build our business. Our business cannot be built in silence. Either you are talking in person or you are talking online. So let us speak and spread the good news about what we have to offer. Thank you very much. Now I want to hand you over to Pascal, who is quite ready to